You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Sean Wilkie, and along with my awesome co host, we interview the innovators in this space every week. Ivan, please kick us off.
Hey, I'm Ivan Zach. I'm excited to introduce Derek Cummins. Derek is the CEO and co founder of PetExpert, founded in 2018, which is a leading pet insurance provider in Central and Eastern Europe. Now present in 4 countries, PetExpert focuses on tech, innovation, and veterinary partnerships. The company was acquired by Trupanion, North American leading pet insurance provider, at the end of 2022. Derek continues to lead PetExpert and is expanding into new territories. Derek, thank you for finding the time. Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, nice to meet you.
So, what is new in pet insurance industry? So I'm not very familiar with it. The only my familiarity with it is the general statistics. So for some reason, I know that UK is the highest insurance coverage that I heard of. About 20%. North America, for some reason, it's only 2 to 3%. That's the stats that I know. Maybe they have changed. And with this economy and with the prices continuously growing, there's one interesting fact that I know about insurance. So we're in Atlantic Canada, and we have one area and territory that's called Newfoundland, where insurance coverage by Trupanion is 80% of population because Vet Strategy came in there, bought the local emergency hospital, and jacked the prices so high that it actually changed the behavior of the population, and almost everybody signed up for insurance. And after that, they closed the emergency department. So that's an interesting because they failed to hire people into it. But it changed the dynamic. And that's why what I'm doing, building a hospital, we're going next to Newfoundland. But the insurance coverage is very attractive because we're building hospitals. We want the clients with insurance. So my immediate question to you, have you seen the dynamic of raising prices and inflation and everything that's going on driving insurance into a better coverage? And what is your experience in the regions where you are?
So again, thanks for inviting me along to this great podcast that you do. And I'd like to answer that in two things. First of all, I don't know the North American business intimately. Yes, I know in Newfoundland I have a very fantastic territory partner who is there, who really works with all the veterinary clinics and does a great job. I think what we've seen over the last couple of years is inflation. And as we know, the inflation has increased, and that has impacted other veterinary clinics in North America and also in Europe. In the territories where I'm in, I've certainly seen that, and it's double digit, and the amount of increases that the veterinarians have done, and that has driven really the usage more and more of pet insurance. You mentioned the UK. Yeah, UK is highly penetrated. And the reason why it's highly penetrated is because, first of all, it's been there for a very, very long time. And, it's something that people are used to. It's just part of pet ownership. Certainly in other countries across Europe, it varies. Scandinavia, is 80% because part of that insurance is mandatory. It's made that you have to have certain type of insurance, normally liability insurance.
Yeah, it's fascinating to zoom out from the perspective of the North American market and to get a more worldly view. That stat about Scandinavia is not surprising, but also very interesting. Also, kind of coupled that with the fact that they have like the highest quality of life and the happiness scores that are off the charts. So nobody's worried about the cost of pet care, I guess, because they're forced to have insurance. So some lessons that we could learn there for sure. The question that I'd like to ask is like, the part of the world that you're focused on, what are some interesting things that are happening there from a pet insurance perspective? And what attracted Trupanion to buying the organization that you built? And maybe a third part, what was that like being acquired by a giant like Trupanion?
Sure. So first of all, when myself and my other co-founder we created PetExpert, there was pet insurance around in the region, very low penetration. But of course, there's no point doing something the same. We had to be different, and we had to be better than anybody else. And being different really meant putting the veterinarian at the heart of our relationship. So instead of, typically what insurance companies do is do lots of advertising and so on, and just acquire clients they want to acquire, and build the gross written premium, and the relationship is directly with the consumer. But we changed that, and what we did is said, look, no, our relationship is with the veterinarian. So how we started is that we built a network of veterinarians across the whole of the country where we're in, but we visited them one by one and said, look, here's all the benefits to you of your clients having insurance. And the veterinarians, some were like, yeah, we've seen this before, but how are you going to make it different? And we said, look, here's what we're going to make it different. We're going to actually do settlement directly at the veterinary clinic. So we're fully, and I was, we're a tech company effectively. I'm from tech background. So we fully integrated into the practice management systems, all of them actually, where a claim is instantly settled at the clinic itself. And that's what really happens. So the claim comes through, it comes through to our platform. Our platform makes an instant decision based on a number of technologies we have, and the claim is settled there. And we directly settle with the veterinarian. And all the owner does is pay there's several words in different languages, but pay the excess. So, and that's it. So if you think about it, big bills, we're solving a problem. Clients sometimes don't have the money to pay it, but it doesn't matter because we pay the vet directly. And the client doesn't have to fill out a claim form, get the documentation printed out, sent to the insurance company, and then the insurance company pays at some point in the future. So that's how we solved that problem. In terms of why were we attractive to Trupanion? Because that's exactly what they do. It was the only other global insurance company who does the same as us. We weren't copying Trupanion at the beginning or anything like that. They basically have effectively the same model as us, which is building a veterinary network, having territory partners, working with the veterinarians, and like a single point of contact, and doing direct settlement directly at the veterinarians. So it was an instant marriage, to be honest, because there was nobody else like Trupanion out there. And when we met them, they were a great company. The founder, it was exactly shared our vision of what we wanted to do, and being different and having the veterinarian part of our relationship. The other part, what's it like? The third part of what's it like? It's been fantastic. It's great. Trupanion are a great company. Is managed exceedingly well. They put, again, the veterinarians at the heart of everything. They are super duper pet lovers as we are, and the customer service that they provide is unchallenged. So this is exactly the type of organization that we wanted to be with.
That's exciting. And when you were saying about your system, I was like, yeah, that's exactly how Trupanion works, because we use Trupanion and obviously we recommend them for those particular reasons. Because we, as in Galaxy Vets, we're building urgent care hospitals now. And this is the most common thing is that, insurance is essentially sort of a lifeline for these customers that we have. It's not the general practice. So unfortunately, we can't recommend it proactively because everybody we see, they are in trouble today. So that's kind of the issue. But we developed our own payment plans to combat that too. So that's kind of what we try to differentiate as well. But I have a question about the switch from one country. So Czech Republic being part of the EU, right? But you still have you utilize your own currency, right? Is Czech Republic on euro or is still in?
Yes,
Oh, it is on euro.
it's still in Czech crowns.
Correct.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's not in euro. It's in Czech crowns. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I knew. My best friend is actually who Sean met in Ukraine at some point. Lives in Czech Republic. I was just there actually last week in Germany. I was in Germany fixing my knee, but my Czech Republic friend came to to visit. And what is it like for the entrepreneurs out there? And I know in Europe it's much easier to take that leap. But most businesses in North America, let's say they originated in the States, they rarely look beyond the current market. But there you quickly need to look at the market of the whole Europe and beyond. What does that decision process look like and looked like for you? And what are the things that you needed to think about when you're like, okay, we have a certain market share in Czech Republic, but let's look beyond that instead of dominating Czech Republic only? How do we go to other countries? And what are the considerations that we need to take when we're switching to different currency, different kind of people, different attitude towards pet ownership and things like that? How that transition went, and is there any sort of things to watch out for entrepreneurs listening to this when they're thinking to go globally?
Sure. Great question. I think the one thing that you shouldn't do is think it's the same everywhere, because it's not. This is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make when they want to move from one market to another, and they pick it up and they put it somewhere else, and it doesn't necessarily. Sometimes it works, but a lot of the time it doesn't, because they think it's the same attitude, same everything, and it's not. You're talking about different cultures, different attitudes to insurance, different ways insurance is sold in different countries, and also different relationships with their pets, even down to what pet is more popular. So, for instance, in Belgium, there's more cats than dogs. Yeah. So, it's a really cat market. As cats are also fantastic pets, and people love them as they should. But a lot of cats stay inside, so they always would say, "Well, my cat stays inside, so he's never going to get sick." So you have to do a lot of education around that. Yeah, so you got to say, "Well, it doesn't matter that your cat's inside. Your cat could have a genetic problem. Yeah, you could have an issue that you don't know about. All illnesses are not them falling off the window and dropping 2 floors, yeah, awkwardly falling. It's about education. So, from my point of view, the thing you have to do is really get a lot of data, and before entering a market, spend some time in that market speaking to people. So, what we did is sat down and spoke to various amounts of veterinarians through established partners, and then to get into the door, frankly. And then actually saying to them, look, this is what we have, this is why we're different, this is why we're better. What do you think? And we get their feedback. And they'll say, oh, yeah, well, this won't, or this could be a problem, or that. And then what you have to do, you have to then tweak certain things, even processes, certainly product, and it depends also about affordability and what type of product that people want that's more important for them in that market. So to summarize, it's really about getting the data, meeting people before you make that big leap. And just don't ever think it's the same. That's the biggest mistake, and I've seen it happen time and time again.
That makes a ton of sense, Derek. The next question that I wanted to ask you revolves around like innovation and technology. I mean, after all, that's the title of our podcast. Looked at your background, you've got an extensive background in tech. The pet industry globally is not necessarily one that's known as tech forward, or at least it wasn't a couple of years ago. What innovation, besides the automatic instant payments to the vets, have you guys developed and maybe even stumbled upon that's kind of led to your success?
Well, one of the things that, when we started, people always said, yeah, well, you got offered pet insurance, but then you've got offered loads of other products and services as well. Yeah. So you've always got to try and add more products, add more services, and this is a bit of a trap, because I've seen other pet insurance companies do this, and they get so bogged down offering other services like healthcare plans, like the wearables, and all sorts of different things, because they think, well, we've got the data, we're able to use that data, but that's just not realistic, frankly. What we've always done is focus on our core business and then basically improve the customer experience. So what does that mean? We use tech to improve the customer experience. So we're using more and more tech where we're making it easier for people to understand, first of all, when they sign up to the insurance, to when they claim. And we always trying to make that easier and easier and simpler all the time. So that's our biggest innovation, is to continue to have a great net promoter score, continue to have a great customer satisfaction. And, our clients, they love what we do. And for them, look at some of the reviews. I'm going to, of course, I'm going to say how great our company is, but look at the reviews. I read some of the reviews myself. I look at it and I think, great, this is exactly the reason why I started this company, where people will talk about how their pet's life was saved because they had pet insurance, and that we were there for them, and the process was simple.
That's interesting. And what I've heard you say, I'm going to paraphrase, is a lot of the innovation has been saying no to shiny objects.
Yeah, certainly from our perspective.
Yeah, isn't that tricky?
It is tricky. It's very difficult to do that. Doesn't mean we won't do it. And again, I can't speak on behalf of Trupanion North America, certainly from our experience in Europe. Yeah, we're always looking at new innovation. We also will partner with people, and I think there's been some partnerships that we've announced as well recently. And we'll partner with people to offer certain services and certain products and so on. We're just really good at what we do. And I think I've seen it a lot of times where companies certainly have taken away from their core business, and they start going into something else. Again, I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but it really depends on the business at the time. Certainly from my perspective, we're always innovating on our products and services and the tech that we do. We're just keeping ahead all the time, because of course when you do all this, your competitors will want to do it as well. It's natural. So we're just trying to keep ahead of them all the time and doing that. It's difficult to not look at the nice shiny things, but again, it would really depend on what that was.
Yeah, it's fascinating, interesting, and leads me to my next question, which is we have a lot of innovation happening right now in vet med. Probably the most I've ever seen. I think Ivan would probably agree as well. Lots of interesting new technology, large language models, artificial intelligence is kind of rampant. But I think the last comments around sticking to your core business are really, really meaningful. And I guess a question to the other innovators, or question maybe from the other innovators, is what advice do you have for kind of founders out there that may be listening to our show based upon all your years of successful experience?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of to my advice to other founders is that make sure you know what you're getting into from the beginning. And you read so many stories of so company, they did so well and they raised so much money and everything, and and you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, I wish I could do all that. And just be patient. Just be patient, but be known. Yeah, don't wait for people to come to you, because it ain't gonna happen. You've got to get out there, and people have got to know. And sometimes you think, well, how are they ever going to know about you? But you just have to get out there and get to meet people and network and and then just don't sit there. And I've seen it happen. If you build it, they will come. No, they won't. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. They won't come.
So true.
You've got to meet people. You have to and sometimes you might think, well, I've met that person, but I don't know whether that's going to, is that going to do something for is that going to that meeting, is that going to create something? You can't think like that. You've just got to go, right, okay, next, move on, meet that person, can that and do that. And that's how I've done. Now, was it hard? It was incredibly difficult. And you've got to constantly keep the faith all the time. We've been fortunate enough, but you make your own luck, but you're fortunate enough to always grow. We've always grown and grown. We've never had declining growth. So we just grew and grew and grew. We continue to grow fantastically. But, it is difficult. To summarize, you have to be patient and don't be put off by the noise around you. Yeah, like somebody raising 50 million or someone raising 100 million, because as we've seen recently, people can raise huge amounts of money, but literally be on the edge of survival. So it's really about what you do. So my advice to founders is just keep going, keep going, keep going.
Amen to that. We're out of time. We always do. There's two questions that we ask at the end. One of them is there a book, a YouTube video, or TED Talk, or anything that inspired you recently that you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, there's one book that was recommended to me called Outlive. And it's a book by an American author who's a doctor called Peter Attia. What he talks about in this book is about medicine 3.0. So this book is written by a doctor. So first of all, I hear several people may groan because it'll be very doctor centric, but he really outlines where he sees the future of medicine. Now, I also think this is the future of veterinary medicine as well. And what 3.0 does is instead of trying to treat something as it's happened now, why don't you try and prevent it from happening in the future? So why don't you put, I know it may seem easy, but diagnostics and so on, but specific diagnostics early on rather than just waiting for it to happen. So it's a book that I highly recommend. Many of my friends have read it, love it. It puts a new perspective. Certainly, it's not about how do you live longer. It's about how you get the most longevity out of your life in the way that you are the healthiest. And I feel the same can be done in veterinary medicine as well.
That's amazing, Derek. Last question for you, and thanks for being on the show. Do you have another innovator that you think we should have on the podcast from the industry?
So the person that I would recommend to speak to in terms of innovation is Dr. Jan Baranek. Dr. Jan Baranek is a boarded orthopedic surgeon in the UK. He's a European boarded surgeon. He's originally from Czech Republic. He moved to the UK and built a fantastic career there as one of the leading orthopedic surgeons in a big referral hospital in the north of England. Now, is he innovator? Well, I think what he's doing is he's doing some great work there. And for what he often does is comes to the Czech Republic, does seminars and some education, and is full up every time. People highly respect him. He takes a different approach than is known here, and he's just, from my perspective, he's fantastic to talk to, and a great visionary about veterinary healthcare in the future.
Thank you so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. If you want to hear about our new episodes, please follow us on any social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at veterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. See you next week.